Some people are excellent listeners, but once it comes to CELPIP Part 6 listening, everybody struggles. CELPIP Part 6 of the listening is the reason why a lot of people fail, and that the amount of mistakes they make in that part is the reason why they drop from a 10 to a 9 to an 8 and even below. So today we're going to practice something that we do in classes with our students. So what we do is we work on note-taking, because yes, it's a game of listening, but it's also, more importantly, I think much more important than listening is note-taking. Because imagine if you can simply write down everything that the speaker is saying, you have all those notes, then you have these questions based on the speech, you will be able to answer everything correctly because everything will be written for you, right? But it is hard because of the speed at which the person talks. So today we're going to break down how the note-taking is supposed to be done, and how we're going to do that is I'm going to start taking notes on my end. Okay, so when the audio plays, I'm going to take some notes and I'll share that picture with you guys here on this video. What you need to do is take notes as well as you listen to the audio. At the end of the video, you will check my notes, how I take notes, understand something from it. You will learn lots of different strategies on how to take notes effectively and quickly, and then compare that with your notes. See the difference. If you're the same or better than my notes, like if you can write more than I can, great. That means you will have an amazing exam and an amazing score. But if you're struggling and you are taking less notes than I am, or your notes are not that organized or readable, you might really struggle. So this video will explain how to take proper notes, and we're going to start with this listening audio that I'm going to play right now. Get your pen and paper. You can pause this video to get it, because we're going to do this exercise together. Now, if you're ready, let's get started.
Bob Anderson, owner of Maple Tech, has been a strong supporter of minimalism and overall life satisfaction. For individuals, he strongly relies on the notion of minimalism, whereby he proclaims that less is more. In that, he asserts, individuals are likely to find the ultimate satisfaction, given the less stress and the ease of working less hours when they have minimal spending passions. Overall, his chief outlook on such behavior is that by desiring lesser, the push to work overtime or 2 jobs will be lesser, since the individual's paycheck will be on par with his monthly expenses that will deem to be negligible. Bob further portrays his life as an example where, as a businessman, he never used to hold back on his cravings. Whether it is fancy cars, huge houses, or luxury brands, Bob would go out of his way to mainly splurge to find more complacency. Nevertheless, Bob now contends that entrepreneurs with deep pockets should go the other route, where they not only learn to save for the rainy days, but also learn to find satisfaction with what they have rather than what they don't. The latter ultimately will force them to spend drastically, which ends up in a vicious cycle, leaving the thirst of happiness as it is. Ceasing aggressive shopaholic habits and learning to grow into other activities is key when seeking solace. Chad Hamilton, on the contrary, is a strong proponent of another type of lifestyle. His ambitions center more on growth, adventure, and the sustainable benefits of capitalism. For him, using one's wealth towards accumulating resources, whether they are trivial or not, tends to provide a deep source of gratitude and fulfillment. He believes the thrill of possessing new fortunes always hooks people to work hard and look forward to something. The eventual purchases of luxuries is the point where the effort equals result, and such behavior should never be frowned upon. In terms of this being a typical capitalist mentality, Chad sees nothing but optimism. We are able to develop new products and businesses knowing that there is a plethora of consumer demand. This emergence of new businesses and the growth of existing ones means more jobs, greater tax for the government, and an active overall economy. Chad believes promoting minimalism will lead to the death of several enterprises, as consumers tend to focus more on saving. He proclaims that an active economy needs investment and activity, not people holding their cash in their wallets.
Okay guys, sorry for the scratching noises if you heard them. That was my pen writing when I was listening, as were you guys. Now this is the picture of the notes I took, and you can see the first thing I want to show you is whenever people change opinions in part 6, like Bob was one person who had one point of view and Chad was another. So I make a different column or a different row whenever the opinion is changed. This page was taking too much space, so I just put a different row. You can also make columns for each person who is speaking. We don't know how many people speak. You know, sometimes it's 2 people having different points of views, or 3, or so on. The idea is whenever the speaker goes from negative to positive and then goes back to negative, or whenever there's a different person or a different topic or a different opinion, you make a different column. Because first of all, this shows you the pattern of the questions. Many times, CELPIP questions are in sequence. Many times, not always. And if you write it like this, you will know who said what first and then what was said next and so on. Also, they would ask the feelings. For example, how was Bob thinking about minimalism? And if you have him in this column with all the good things, you know he was positive. Chad, on the other hand, you can see there's his positive attitude is about not having minimalism, but with growth. So by putting these in different columns, I can organize and understand who said what. It's just way more organized. Okay, you can see how I started. I first wrote the name Bob because the questions will ask you, of course, what did Bob say, or what kind of supporter was Bob. So you need to know the difference between the names. So Bob is the owner of Maple Tech. I wrote Maple Tech there. I put minimalism and satisfaction, and I put tick marks around it because these were the things he supported. So you can see I use a bunch of tick marks and crosses to show myself what they were talking about and if they were supporting it or not. Small things like you can see the next line where I put you instead of YOU. Of course, you got to come up with short forms to speed it up. So he was saying that, she was saying that Bob finds satisfaction when, well, he's saying you should find satisfaction when you have lesser working hours. And I put a little thing here that I do just below the word less to tell myself that less hours and less spending, those are the things he is supporting. Then he also said paycheck equals expenses. So when expenses are not too much, your paycheck is equal to expenses and you are living a good life. Okay, now one more arrow from Bob. So arrow goes from Bob to businessman. So now I know that Bob is a businessman. Arrows help me. If I just wrote businessman, I don't know what businessman, right? But arrows make it short. So Bob is a businessman, okay, who loved, I put an underline with ED to tell myself that this was past, okay, because it could be confusing if I don't remember. So he loved cravings, which were things like cars and stuff, but I couldn't write it. She was so fast. So I just put luxuries, okay. But now he says no. I wrote no in caps because it shows me that there's a big change of focus now, complete opposite. But now no, and save for rainy days. I couldn't write it. It was fast. So rainy is enough. I will know. I will remember what she said. And now the last thing he said was, what Bob said was, focus on what you have or else. Okay, so he didn't say or else. He was saying that you should focus on what you have, be happy with what you have, and he said something about like you will be miserable. I'm not sure, but there was something wrong. So I just said or else. Okay. And then comes Chad, and I put a cross right there because now Chad is the person opposing whatever Bob said. So this cross tells me he's on the opposite side. If Chad was supporting Bob, I would put a tick mark to show that he is supporting Bob. Now he said, see, I can't even read it, it's so fast. So there's a cross, and then he says grew, okay. Oh, okay, grow. So yeah, okay, now I remember. So I wrote that Chad said you should grow yourself. Yeah, and that little man you see there, that's funny, but that's me doing this fast because I remember how he was talking about having joy, like you'll be, I think he said excited or joyful. So you can grow, you can have joy, and plus tells me that he was optimistic about just spending more, and he was supporting that. So those pictures and texts, they show me the whole story without me having to write everything down. It's much faster. You can see I continued doing that. He said that you would have gratitude. So I cannot draw a picture for gratitude, but I can draw a picture for the money. So he was saying you have more money, you can spend it, you have gratitude, you would work hard. He didn't say the word incentive, but I wrote it because that was his idea. He was like, it'll push more people to work hard if you earn more and you can spend more. So again, I'm just making short forms. Then he said effort will equal result. So you make more effort, you will see a good result. So do it. That was his conclusion, written at the other side of that big hyphen to show me that this is kind of a conclusion or a different sentence, she said. Smiley face. So there's a smiley face because Chad was pretty optimistic about it. So again, quick reminder for me. Instead of me writing that Chad is pretty happy, I can make a smiley face, and that tells me the same thing. Now, next thing he said was demand will make greater businesses, greater jobs, and greater economy. So greater sign. You don't have to write more or greater every time, just short forms. And then he said opposite otherwise. So if you don't do it, it's opposite. So that means your economy will crumble and so on. Now, I haven't gone back and checked the text, but if I do, I'm pretty sure whatever the person was talking about is exactly what I've written. Of course, minor details have been missed, but the main concepts, the things where the questions could come from, I have written them down. I don't care about what Bob's last name is or what Chad's last name is. That's never the question, right? I don't care about the exact wordings that were said. The questions would never ask you what word did he use, but the concept, the idea, what they're fighting about, what they're supporting, how they're feeling. Feelings is a common question in CELPIP listening. How does this person feel about whatever? So those things I have written down, and with the help of pictures, arrows, symbols, shapes, and words, and their short forms, with the organization, like dividing them into columns or rows, will help me understand the whole topic. And that's how you can also take notes and do effective CELPIP listening with the help of these strategies. I hope that helps. Thank you very much. I hope you liked this video. Please like and share. Subscribe as well if you really found this beneficial. This is Sean again. Talk to you very soon. Take care.